I came home early for lunch because my boss canceled a meeting last minute. That small, random change is the only reason I found out my wife was cheating on me. We've been married for 6 years. Up until a few months ago, I would have told anyone we had a solid relationship. Not perfect, but stable. We had routines, inside jokes, plans for the future. Or at least, I thought we did. Looking back now, the signs were there. I just ignored them because I trusted her. She started getting more distant. Always on her phone, but tilting the screen away when I walked by. She'd snap at me over small things, like I left a glass in the sink or forgot to take out the trash. Then 5 minutes later, she'd act overly sweet, almost fake. It felt off. Her schedule also changed. She started working late, more often, or saying she had errands after work. When I asked questions, she'd get defensive immediately, like I was accusing her of something. I told myself she was stressed. I didn't want to be that paranoid husband. That day, I wasn't supposed to be home until at least 6 p.m. But I walked in around 1:30, expecting a quiet house. Instead, I heard something. At first, I thought the TV was on. But it wasn't. It was voices. Muffled. From upstairs. My stomach dropped instantly. I remember standing there in the hallway frozen, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Maybe she was on a call. Maybe she came home for lunch too. But then I heard a laugh. Not just any laugh. A laugh I hadn't heard from her in months. Light, playful, almost intimate. I walked upstairs slowly. Every step felt heavier than the last. My heart was pounding so loud I swear I could hear it in my ears. The bedroom door was closed. That alone was weird. We never closed it during the day. I stood there for a second, my hand on the handle, and I remember thinking, if I open this, everything changes. And I still opened it. What I saw didn't even register at first. It was like my brain refused to process it. She was there, in our bed. Not alone. There was a guy. Half-dressed. Sitting up, looking just as shocked as I was. And my wife, just froze. Her face went pale, then immediately twisted into something else. Not guilt. Not shame. Panic. Then anger. "What are you doing home?" she yelled. That's the first thing she said. Not sorry. Not an explanation. Just yelling at me. I think that's when something inside me broke. I didn't scream. I didn't attack the guy. I just stood there, staring at her, trying to understand how this was real. The guy grabbed his clothes, clearly trying to get out as fast as possible. He avoided eye contact with me completely. Honestly, I barely even looked at him. All I could see was her. She jumped out of bed, wrapping herself in a blanket like that somehow made this situation less insane. "It's not what you think," she started, already talking fast, her voice shaking but aggressive. "You're overreacting. He just came over to talk." To talk. In our bed. Half naked. I actually let out a laugh. Not because it was funny, but because it was so absurd, I didn't know how else to react. "Yeah," I said. "That makes sense." She immediately switched tactics. Started crying. Like instantly. Tears, shaking voice, the whole thing. "I didn't mean for you to find out like this," she said. "You've been distant too, you know that? You've been ignoring me for months." I felt like I was losing my mind. She was turning it around on me. Like I was the reason she was in our bed with another man. I asked her one question. "How long?" She hesitated. Just for a second. But I saw it. "That doesn't matter," she said. That was my answer. I walked out of the room. I couldn't stay there another second. I heard her calling after me, switching between yelling and crying, trying to control the situation. But I was already done. I walked downstairs, grabbed my keys, and just sat in my car for a while, staring at nothing. I kept replaying it in my head. The laugh. The look on her face. The way she blamed me within seconds. 6 years. And that's how it ended. I didn't go back inside for hours. I just sat there in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands started to hurt. My brain kept trying to rewrite what I saw, like maybe I misunderstood it. Maybe there was some explanation that would make it less final. But there wasn't. At some point, my phone started buzzing. Her name kept popping up. Call after call. Then messages. Please come back. We need to talk. You're making this worse. This isn't what you think. That last one made me laugh again. It was exactly what I thought. I finally turned the car on and drove. I didn't even know where I was going at first. I just needed distance. I ended up at a random parking lot across town, still sitting there, still staring into nothing. Then something clicked in my head. The way she hesitated when I asked, "How long?" That wasn't a one-time thing. So I went from being numb to needing answers. I went back home. When I walked in, the house was quiet again. Too quiet. Like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't just watched my entire life collapse in one moment. She was sitting on the couch, still wrapped in that same blanket, eyes red from crying. But the second she saw me, her expression changed again. Relief. Then tension. "Finally," she said. "We need to talk like adults." Like adults. I didn't sit down. I stayed standing, keeping distance between us. "Who is he?" I asked. She hesitated again. Same pause. "A friend." I nodded slowly. "What's his name?" Another pause. That's when I knew this was way deeper than she was pretending. "It doesn't matter," she snapped. "Why are you focusing on him? This is about us." No, it wasn't about us anymore. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling. I remembered something. A few weeks ago, I had used her laptop because mine was dead. She had her messages open, and I noticed a name pop up repeatedly. At the time, I ignored it. Now I didn't. I walked past her, straight to the bedroom. She followed me immediately, her tone shifting again. "What are you doing?" she demanded. I opened her laptop. "Stop it," she said louder now. "You don't have the right to go through my stuff." I turned and looked at her. "I just caught you cheating in our bed. I think we're past rights." She didn't answer that. Her laptop was still logged in. And there it was. The same name. Dozens of messages. No, hundreds. I opened the conversation. My hands were shaking, but I forced myself to read. It went back months. At first, it looked innocent. Casual conversations. Jokes. Complaints about work. Then it shifted. Flirting. Then more. Then plans. Specific days. Times. Excuses she told me that I now saw written out in plain text. Every late meeting. Every errand. Every time she said she was tired and went to bed early. It was all there. Mapped out. I felt sick. Behind me, she started talking again faster now. "You're taking things out of context," she said. "It wasn't serious. It just happened." I scrolled further. Pictures. I stopped. I didn't need to see more. "How long?" I asked again, without turning around. Silence. "Tell me the truth," I said. This time, her voice was quieter. "About 4 months." 4 months. That's not a mistake. That's a second relationship. I turned to face her. 4 months," I repeated. "You've been lying to me for 4 months." She started crying again. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she said. "You don't understand. I felt alone." "Stop." I cut her off. Because I couldn't listen to it anymore. The excuses. The blame shifting. The way she kept trying to twist reality into something that didn't make her the villain. "You didn't feel alone," I said. "You chose this." She shook her head aggressively. "No, you pushed me into this. You stopped paying attention to me. You were always working you." I laughed again. But this time it came out harsh. "So your solution was to cheat on me in our bed?" She didn't answer. Instead, she got angry again. "Why are you acting like you're perfect?" she snapped. "You think you've been such a great husband?" That was the moment I realized something important. She wasn't sorry. Not really. She was sorry she got caught. That's it. I closed the laptop slowly. "I'm done," I said. Her expression changed instantly. Panic again. "What do you mean you're done?" she asked. "I mean I'm done," I repeated. I'm not staying in this. I'm not fixing this. I'm done. She stood up quickly, the blanket falling slightly as she moved, but she didn't even notice. You're overreacting, she said, her voice rising. People work through this all the time. It's not that serious. Not that serious. 4 months. Lies. Plans. Another man in our bed. And it's not that serious. I just shook my head. I'll be gone by tonight, I said. You can explain whatever you want to whoever you want. I don't care anymore. For the first time, she looked scared. Not angry. Not defensive. Actually scared. Wait, she said, stepping toward me. We can fix this. I'll cut him off. I promise. It didn't mean anything. I looked at her for a long second, and all I could think was, I don't even recognize you anymore. No, I said quietly. You already made your choice. And this time, I meant it. I started packing that same evening. Not in a dramatic way. No yelling, no throwing things. Just quiet. Mechanical. Like I was watching someone else move my life into a suitcase. She followed me around the house the entire time. At first, she tried to stay calm. Soft voice, careful words. You're making a mistake, she said. We're just emotional right now. I didn't respond. I kept folding clothes. We can go to therapy, she added. People fix things worse than this. Still nothing from me. That's when her tone changed again. You're really just going to walk away? After everything I've done for you? She snapped. I stopped for a second, then kept packing. That question stuck in my head, though. Not because it made sense, but because of how twisted it was. She cheated, lied for months, brought another man into our home. And somehow, I was the one abandoning her. You're unbelievable, she continued, pacing behind me. You don't even want to fight for this? I zipped my bag halfway and finally turned to face her. There's nothing to fight for, I said. You already ended it. That hit something in her. Her face twisted, and suddenly, she wasn't trying to fix anything anymore. She was trying to win. You think you're so innocent? She said, crossing her arms. You have no idea what it felt like being with you these last months. I stayed quiet. Cold. Distant. Boring, she continued. I felt like I was living with a stranger. I let her talk. Because now it wasn't about truth. It was about her rewriting this story, so she wouldn't feel guilty. You pushed me away, she said. He actually listened to me. He cared. That word. Cared. It made something in my chest tighten. So you replaced me, I said. That's your justification? She didn't answer directly. Instead, she smirked slightly. And that was new. He's not like you, she said. He's more alive. For a second, everything went quiet in my head. That one sentence cut deeper than everything else. Not the cheating. Not the lies. That. Because it wasn't panic. It wasn't fear. It was honesty. I picked up my bag again. Good, I said. Then you won't miss me. That wiped the smirk off her face instantly. Don't twist my words, she snapped. You're acting like a victim. I paused again, then looked at her. I walked into my house and found my wife in bed with another man, I said slowly. If I'm not the victim here, who is? She opened her mouth, then closed it. For once, she didn't have an answer. But it didn't last long. Because then she did something I didn't expect. She grabbed her phone. Maybe you need to hear this from someone else, she said. Before I could react, she hit call. I frowned. What are you doing? She didn't answer. She just put the phone on speaker. After a few seconds, a male voice picked up. Hey! My stomach dropped instantly. It was him. Tell him, she said. I felt my entire body tense. Tell me what? I asked. There was a pause on the other end. Then the guy sighed. Look, man, he said. This wasn't supposed to happen like this. I actually laughed under my breath. Yeah, I said. I figured. She told me you guys were basically done, he continued. That you were just staying together out of habit. I slowly turned my head toward her. She didn't look at me. She said you didn't care about her anymore, he added. There it was. The full picture. Not just cheating. A completely fabricated story about me to justify it. I never said that, I said quietly, looking straight at her. She still didn't meet my eyes. The guy on the phone kept going. I'm not trying to get involved in your marriage, he said. But you should know she wasn't hiding me from you because she felt guilty. She just didn't want the drama. That sentence hit differently. No guilt. Just inconvenience. Got it, I said. I reached over and ended the call myself. The room went silent. She finally looked at me, but now there was something else in her expression. Not anger. Not panic. Something closer to realization. Like she understood, just for a second, how badly she had destroyed everything. You didn't have to do that, I said. She swallowed, her voice suddenly quieter. I thought it would help you understand. It did, I said. And it did. It helped me understand that this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't a rough patch. This was a choice she made over and over again, every single day, for 4 months. I picked up my bag fully this time. She stepped closer, her voice shaking now. Wait, please, she said. Don't leave like this. I looked at her one last time. And for the first time since I walked into that bedroom, I felt nothing. No anger. No pain. Just clarity. There's no other way to leave, I said. And I walked out. I didn't go back after that. Not the next day. Not the next week. Not ever. The first night was the hardest. I stayed at a cheap hotel, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything over and over again. My brain kept trying to find a version of reality where this didn't happen. Where she didn't look at me like I was the problem. Where 6 years didn't collapse in a single afternoon. But there wasn't one. The next morning, I started making calls. A lawyer. My boss. A couple of close friends I trusted enough to tell the truth. Saying it out loud made it real in a way nothing else did. My wife cheated on me. I caught her. Every time I said it, it felt like a punch to the chest. But at the same time, it grounded me. It forced me to stop pretending this was something fixable. She kept trying to reach me. Calls. Messages. Long paragraphs about how she made a mistake, how she missed me, how she was willing to do anything. Then, when I didn't respond, the tone shifted again. You're throwing everything away. You'll regret this. You're not perfect either. It was the same pattern. Apology. Blame. Manipulation. By the third day, I stopped reading them. The divorce process started faster than I expected. Apparently, cases like this aren't rare. That alone messed with my head more than I thought it would. Like, this level of betrayal is just another routine situation. When she got the papers, she showed up at my work. I didn't expect that. She looked different. No anger this time. No attitude. Just desperate. Can we talk? She asked. I stepped outside with her, mostly because I didn't want a scene. For a few seconds, she just stood there, like she didn't know where to start. I messed up, she finally said. I know that now. I didn't respond. I thought I was unhappy, she continued. I thought you didn't care. But I see it now. I destroyed everything. There were tears again. Real ones this time, I think. I ended it with him, she added quickly. The same day you left. I looked at her, and for a split second, I saw the person I used to love. But it didn't change anything. That doesn't fix it, I said. I know, she whispered. But we can still fix us. That word again. Us. I shook my head slowly. There is no us anymore, I said. You ended it a long time ago. I just found out late. She broke down then. Actually broke. I didn't think you'd really leave, she admitted. That sentence hit in a strange way. Not because it hurt, but because it explained everything. She didn't think there would be consequences. She thought she could have both. I did, I said. And that was it. I walked away again. This time for good. The divorce went through a couple of months later. Clean. No kids, no shared assets that couldn't be split easily. Just signatures and silence. And then, nothing. No more messages. No more calls. Just a quiet life I had to rebuild from scratch. It's been a while now. I still think about that day sometimes. Not with anger anymore. Just clarity. The biggest thing I learned is this. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Not the version you want them to be. Not the version they pretend to be when they're scared of losing you. The real one. Because the truth is, she didn't change that day. She just got exposed. And honestly, that was the best thing that ever happened to me.